Ray Kroc's story is not about hamburgers, fast food, or luck. It is a masterclass in vision, leverage, patience, and understanding where real wealth is actually created. Because Ray Kroc did not invent McDonald's, he did not create the hamburger, and he did not come from privilege or early success. What he did was far more powerful and far more uncomfortable. He recognized a system that could scale infinitely, and then positioned himself to own the most valuable parts of that system while everyone else focused on the obvious. And for most of his life, Ray Kroc was not a success story at all. He was a struggling salesman well into his 50s, selling milkshake machines, living commission to commission, facing rejection daily, watching younger men pass him financially while society quietly labeled him average, replaceable, and past his prime. Yet, what separated Ray Kroc was not talent or timing but persistence, curiosity, and pattern recognition, because when he walked into the McDonald brothers' small restaurant, he didn't see burgers and fries. He saw speed, efficiency, consistency, and a repeatable process that could be duplicated endlessly. And while the brothers were obsessed with perfecting the product and the kitchen, Ray was obsessed with scale, branding, systems, and ownership. Understanding a financial truth most people never grasp, which is that the real money is not in selling products. It is in owning the system that delivers those products reliably, predictably, and at massive scale. And that shift in perspective changed everything, because Ray Kroc didn't just franchise restaurants, he standardized behavior, training, operations, supply chains, and expectations, turning chaos into predictability. And predictability is what markets, investors, and customers reward. Yet, even after franchising, the business struggled financially, because franchise fees alone were not enough to support rapid expansion, and this is where Ray Kroc's true genius emerged. Because instead of quitting, blaming the market, or lowering standards, he asked a better question. Not, how do we sell more burgers, but, what asset does every McDonald's need forever? And the answer was land, real estate, and location, which led him to create a separate real estate company that owned the land and buildings beneath the restaurants, leasing them back to franchisees. And in that moment, McDonald's stopped being a restaurant company and became a real estate empire disguised as fast food, creating stable recurring income, control, and long-term leverage. Because when you own the land, you control pricing, expansion, standards, and survival, and suddenly franchisees worked for cash flow while Ray Kroc built equity, appreciation, and power, and society benefited because McDonald's created affordable food, consistent quality, millions of jobs, and opportunities for small business owners to participate in a larger system, while Ray benefited because he understood that ownership beats effort, leverage beats labor, and systems beat talent every single time. And just like the greatest empire builders, Ray Kroc did not trade time for money. He traded vision for leverage, patience for equity, and control for stability, turning repetition into wealth and discipline into dominance. And the uncomfortable Morris Deek-style lesson here is that Ray Kroc was not the smartest person in the room, not the inventor, not the most creative, and not the youngest. But he was the one willing to see beyond the product and focus on the structure underneath. Because wealth is not built by working harder or being more talented, it is built by positioning yourself closer to the asset, closer to ownership, and closer to the system that everyone else depends on. And Ray Kroc's rise also proves that success does not care about age, timing, or past failures, because he achieved real wealth after 50. When most people mentally retire, showing that persistence plus clarity eventually beats early talent. And as McDonald's expanded globally, the power of standardization became clear. Because consistency builds trust, trust builds loyalty, and loyalty creates predictable cash flow, which is the foundation of long-term wealth. And Ray Kroc protected that system relentlessly, enforcing standards, controlling locations, and prioritizing the brand over individual operators. Not because he was greedy, but because he understood that without control, scale collapses, and without scale, leverage disappears. And the final takeaway is simple but uncomfortable. You do not need to invent something new to build wealth. You need to recognize what already works, understand where the leverage lies, and have the courage to take responsibility for scaling it properly. Because the world does not reward effort, passion, or ideas alone. It rewards ownership, systems, and long-term thinking, and Ray Kroc mastered that game, proving that real empires are built not in the spotlight, but in the structure behind the scenes.